Hey everyone, Lauren Robertson here. I've just finished writing an article for you about how to boost your income as a speaker, and I wanted to make this video to kind of supplement what we talked about in the article. If you're viewing this video anywhere other than LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn and read the article there. I'll also link it below. So people often ask me, can I really have a career as a speaker? Can I actually make money? Can I actually do this as my sole full-time way of creating income and making a difference in the world? And my answer to that is always yes, because my story, it really has speaking and making money all the way through it. When I left school at 16 and immediately got a job touring and speaking about spirituality all over the UK, the thought had never crossed my mind that it's hard in any way to make money as a speaker. And so it seemed easy and it seemed natural to me to do so. And that's always been my story, and it's always been my journey. It's always been easy and natural for me to make money as a speaker. And I wanted to share this with you because mindset is such a huge part of being able to make money as a speaker, and it's a huge part of being able to create success in many aspects of life and business. If, like me, you're fortunate enough to have gone through your adolescence with the belief that it's easy to make money as a speaker, then you find yourself in a good, empowered situation where you can see opportunities all around yourself to support that belief that you have. If, on the other hand, you have the belief that you're not special enough to make money as a speaker, or it's only hugely famous celebrities that can make money consistently, or you don't have anything unique to say, or it's all been said before, or you've got to the game too late, whatever the excuse or the belief is, I want you to know that it really only is the cumulative effect of past evidence that's given you that story, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that that is true objectively, and it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's going to be true for you in the future either. So fortunately for me, my backstory, if you like, to do with making money as a speaker is one that I want to keep believing. But if you have a backstory about being able to make money as a speaker that you don't want to keep believing, then you are free to set that down and start making different choices. Look, I say free as if it's an easy thing to do. It is tough to believe that something different is possible than the results that you immediately see before you. So don't underestimate the size of that task. It's not actually an easy thing to do, but it is an important thing to do, because otherwise we just keep acting out the behavior that supports the thing that we believe to be true. And this is where working with your mindset about your self-image, your relationship with money, your beliefs about being a speaker, and also working with your desires and what it is that you actually want to get out of speaking are all very important aspects for helping you change your mind. One of the things that I love to do with my Speaker Superstar students, and you'll hear me talk about this a lot, is I'm really fascinated with time. I studied philosophy of time at uni. I used to just go in with a coffee at 9 in the morning and get my mind absolutely blown in this metaphysics class. It was amazing. But anyway, one thing that I learned there is that there are many, many different viewpoints about time. And one of the theories of time suggests that there is a future version of yourself stretching out in front of you, just like the past version of yourself stretches out behind you. And I've taken that idea and really run with it, because if ever there's something I'm feeling a little bit blocked about, whether it's making money or making some sort of change in my business or hiring more team members or going for a speaking gig that I feel a bit intimidated by, whatever the situation is, I choose not to look at the past evidence that's given me the blockage. Instead, I choose to look at a future version of myself who already has this handled, who's already done this, who's already stepped across the threshold, and for her, she's already an expert at the thing that I'm currently struggling with. So when it's come to trying to change my thoughts and my behaviours around money and around self-worth and my ability to receive wealth, Thinking about my future self who already has solved this problem has been a great mindset trick for me. So imagine that there's a future version of yourself calling you towards him or her right now. Imagine that version of yourself being wiser than you because they're a few steps ahead of you through time. Imagine them having already long transcended the money blocks that you're challenged by at the moment. Imagine the amount of money that you're struggling to create for yourself each month, or as a speaker for each speaking gig. They create that daily now. They know what they need to do to make that happen. Too often we reach for the past to try to decide what to do, but the past only knows what got you to this point. I would suggest that you try this visualization and try imagining your future self and how that future self is going to help you get to the financial results where you want to be with your speaking. So that's the more sort of woo-woo, esoteric mindset side of working with money. I really hope that you will go and try that out, because there is a version of you out there in the future who already has this sorted. This is old news to them. They know exactly what they're doing. They don't get out of bed for less than 10 grand or whatever it is right now. So tap into that energy of certainty and that your future self already has it sorted. But that's the woo-woo side. There is something else more practical that I wanted to share with you as well. So Newton's first law of movement is that a body at rest will tend to stay at rest, and a body in motion will tend to stay in motion. I've found that that's not only true for the movement of objects, but it's true for the movement of money as well. What I mean by that is it's easier to stay started and to stay in momentum than it is to get started. And so whatever happens, focus on momentum. Focus on just creating your next speaking event, getting that next booking in, putting one foot in front of the other, raising your prices maybe by 5% year on year. It doesn't need to be giant, outrageous steps, but it does need to be consistent momentum. A body in motion will tend to stay in motion. So as much as is possible, please stay in motion. When we get a little bit discouraged as speakers, especially financially, if we're being asked to speak for free and we're feeling like disappointed or disrespected, or someone's not willing to pay us what we're worth, or they're trying to kind of barter us down on a subject that we feel very personally about, it can feel like a total slight on us, and it can make us feel really disappointed and want to lose momentum, to want to come to a complete standstill. We can get really worried and really afraid. If there's one big mistake that I've made in my business and made as a speaker, it's exactly that. Time after time after time, although I know Newton's first law of motion, a body in motion tends to stay in motion, a body at rest will tend to stay in rest, I have stopped so many times and had to force myself to jump off from that restarting position again. So one of the things I believe that you can do, and again it's something that I've noticed in my own business and with my clients as well, is simply to stay in motion. No matter what happens, don't let there be any excuse for you to not keep taking action. Right? It doesn't matter what somebody says to hurt your feelings. It doesn't matter what somebody kind of insults you by trying to get you to speak for free. It doesn't matter if you absolutely bombed on stage. It doesn't matter if someone said you were the worst speaker ever. You have to make the definite decision that none of that stuff is going to be enough to make you become a body at rest. Because if you stop, it is so much harder to get started again, especially if the reason you stopped was because of losing your confidence, all right? So forget feelings, forget how you feel about it. We're dealing with physics here, right? We're dealing with stationariness and movement and momentum. So if you want to continually build your income in your business, if you want to continually be getting great speaking gigs, signing great clients from your seminars, getting booked to speak on podcasts and, you know, at really high profile opportunities. You have to keep putting yourself out there for these things. You can't just apply for one and then stand back and see what happens, and then when it doesn't come through, be like, ah, forget it. You know, that's called dipping your toe in the water. That's called playing at this. That's called preparing to fail before you've even really tried. So my recommendation to my students, and which I'm going to share with you right now, is whenever you decide that you want to create a certain result in your business as a speaker. So for example, say you wanted to get booked at 5 keynotes, or say, for example, like me, if you speak at your own seminars to coach, say that you wanted to do 10 seminars in a year. I always suggest to my students to basically times the result that you want by 10, right? So times it by 10. So if you're looking to get 5 keynotes booked, be prepared to reach out to 50 people who are going to help you to secure those keynotes. You have to keep reaching out. You have to keep that momentum going. And if you reach out to 50 and they don't bite and it's not been the right fit, then you just have to get back on the horse and reach out to 50 more. It really is just about the momentum and carrying it forward and keeping yourself going in that respect. Or, you know, if you want to have 10 really successful speaking events of your own seminars, be prepared to learn through 100, right? Be prepared to learn through 100 events so that you can know really what it takes and what the conditions are of having 10 that are successful, and then you'll be able to repeat it, because then the momentum will have started and it will have taken over. One thing I want to say about momentum is I believe that we have a quota of momentum capabilities within us, right? So you have like a gas tank of momentum fuel. And if you try to embody or instantiate in your life too many new habits or too many new behaviors at one time, your momentum fuel will become drained and drained and drained. So I really suggest that you choose 1, 2 if you must, top priorities in your business, and let that be the only thing that you're trying to gather momentum on. Let it be the only thing that you are trying to, you know, get the wheels moving, get the fuel burning, get it off the ground, because it gets easier every time. That's the rule of motion. You know, it stays in movement, it stays in velocity once it's moving. You just have to do the work to get it moving. And whatever stage of your business as a speaker you're at, making money and making cash flow ought to be one of those things that's pretty high on the level of momentum. If you're looking around yourself right now and you're thinking, I don't have nearly enough speaking gigs, I'm not making nearly enough money, I'm not freaking, you know, accomplishing the things that I want to be right now, the first question you want to ask yourself is, how many opportunities have I applied for this week? How many people have I reached out to? How many previous clients have I reached out to? How many people in my network have I mobilized to create an opportunity? And if the answer is like 0 or like 10 or any sort of answer that just smacks of being half-assed, to be honest, then there's your answer right there. So as I mentioned in the article, and I'll repeat it again here, double your efforts. Double your efforts. You will be really surprised at some weird physics, that if you're willing to do 100%, you will only ever have to do 50%. If you make a list of 100 ways that you could create speaking gigs or create money as a speaker, you will only have to do 50 of them. You will only have to do 50% before you get where you want to go, before you get momentum. So focus, prioritize. Remember that money is the cash flow of your business, and if you are a speaker, then congratulations, you are in business. I hope that's not a newsflash to you. So just focus on what it is that you want to accomplish, what you're trying to get momentum on. Is it keynotes? Is it being a trainer in companies? Is it getting your first 100 bums and seats at your own live event? And focus on it. Be willing to do 10 times what you need to, and you'll start to see that momentum. Be willing to double your efforts, and you'll only have to do half. That's some crazy ass math, I know, but trust me, it works. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. I hope that this has inspired you, because I know that there's people out there that really need your message, that really need to hear what you have to say, and it's only you that's holding back. You just never know who that next person is you're going to talk to, where that next opportunity is going to come up, where that next speaking gig or whatever is going to come up that's amazingly lucrative, that's just a launch pad that sends you and your business stratospheric. But you have to be willing to keep putting yourself out there, keep asking for the sale, keep asking for the opportunity, keep knowing that you and what you have to say are worth it, and be willing to persevere on that level. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I look forward to catching you on the next video. Bye.